Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here today with Gebhard Rainer, who's the new CEO. Well, not so new now, but he's just came on board a few months back of HX Expeditions. Now, what's HX Expeditions? You might be asking. It was announced several months ago that the company Hurtigruten would be splitting into two. One is called Hurtigruten, which is their coastal voyages, which actually I went on earlier this summer and wonderful cruise. And the other one is HX. And we're actually going to ask Gebhard exactly why that happened. And we're going to find out about HX and what he's going to do with it, and a whole lot more on Insider Travel Report. Gebhard, great to see you. Great to meet you.
Great to meet you, James. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, let's get right to the heart of the matter because I think, it lost in the shuffle, things happen and you've been doing this a couple of months now, but you did do that. Can you remind us what HX is? It's a new name for one of the really oldest expedition brands, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's actually quite exciting what's happening right now. So HX stands basically for Hurtigruten Expeditions. What formerly was Hurtigruten Expeditions when it all was one company. About a year ago, a year and a half ago, a decision was made to split the organization into HX, which is the expedition part of the company, and Hurtigruten Norway, which continues to service the Norwegian coast, which they have done for almost 130 years, and they're doing a brilliant job in. So we at HX, we're about to become really independent. We by the end of October.
Okay.
We are formally operationally separate, and by beginning of January, we will be legally separated as well. Exciting journey for all of us, and the reason behind it was obviously when you have a 130-year-old company that is known for its coastal service in Norway, and then you try to sell high-end expeditions with a purpose. It sort of limits you in the potential opportunity that exists on both sides, to be honest.
Right.
And that was the reason why that decision was made to split.
Now, you will be separate companies with different ownership, right?
Yeah, so we have common ownership now. We have common ownership going into the separation. So there is, as you know, private equity, TDR, owns currently Hurtigruten and HX as well. It will be split into separate holding companies. So there will be separate ownership, although there's a commonality to it through a common holding on top. That might change as we go forward, obviously, because there are some refinancing efforts underway at the moment, and some of the ownership is going to change. But right now, it's private equity owned by TDR on both sides.
And now you also have different headquarters. You are now in London, I believe. And
Correct. Yeah.
HX is Hurtigruten. The original company is in Oslo, I believe.
In Oslo, yes. Yeah. So we set up in London and they remain in Oslo. They remain a Norwegian, purely Norwegian company.
Now, let's talk a little bit about you. I mean, you came over a few months back. You came over actually from Sandals Resorts International. You were the CEO there. Prior to that, you were many years with Hyatt. And so why did you decide to get into cruising and specifically expedition cruising?
Yeah, it's probably due to my adventurous nature. I always, throughout my over 40 years career in hospitality, have been striving for sort of the next unknown level. I love a challenge. I love an opportunity to explore something that I don't know yet, to get to know. But I'm also equally energized, and I love creating unique and memorable experiences for guests, for customers, because that's the essence of hospitality, be that through a culinary journey or be it through an all-inclusive approach, as we have done it at Sandals, or be it now with Expedition Cruises. It's exciting. It's exciting because it is something that should, at the end, look from an execution point of view and an experience point of view very simple, although it is a very complex product. And at HX, we have a real wonderful opportunity to do something, not only in terms of unique experiences, but also to do something to contribute from a sustainability point of view, to get science involved and to have a strong educational focus in everything that we do.
And I guess you can really leverage your hospitality background to apply that to HX, right?
Yeah, and that's sort of the intention here. And I think that was the interest of the ownership, the investors as well, to bring somebody in who is not necessarily with a lot of baggage from the marine side of things in terms of cruise, but brings that customer understanding experience, the all-inclusive part of it. We have changed our approach now to all-inclusive since October, simplifying it both for customer as well as for our travel agents and travel advisor community, which has been highly appreciated. And there is a lot more that can be done there. It's the experiential aspect and the simplicity of the end product that needs to come across.
Well, actually, I did not know that you were now all inclusive across the fleet, which is great. I guess you brought something from Sandals.
Well, I thank God I did bring something from San.
They like all inclusive at Sandals, that's for sure.
Yes.
Especially luxury all inclusive. So that's what they're after. Now let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the ships and your fleet. I've only been on two of them, and only for a quick visit. I was on the Fram and actually the one in back of me, which is the Roald Amundsen.
Right.
When it first came out, I saw that ship. But talk about how many ships do you have in the fleet now?
So we have 5 ships in the fleet. 2 of them are hybrids, the most modern hybrids in existence today. We were the first ones to put them into service. There's some others coming soon. We have the Fram, as you mentioned. We have the Spitsbergen, which is servicing Svalbard and the British Isles, and sometimes goes down a little further along the coast. And then we have the Santa Cruz 2, which services Galapagos.
Yeah,
So
and I've
anything
actually
from,
been. I should say I've been on that one. I've actually been on that one when it
all
was
right.
of Metropolitan Touring.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful cruise. I was actually during COVID, in the middle of COVID, we went down to Galapagos. But it is a beautiful ship, and as you note behind you, the Roald Amundsen is incredible ship, and then you have the Nansen, the Fridtjof Nansen, and then the Fram, of course,
Yep.
and the Spitsbergen is really kind of mirrors kind of what I did a little bit with a Hurtigruten ship is doing that too up there, and that was pretty good. But so now you have five ships, and two of them are almost brand new.
Yes.
What is your plan? Where are these ships going to go, and what are they going to offer?
So as you know, we're proud that we have over 250 destinations in our portfolio today. The main focus is really the Arctic and the Antarctic areas, or the northern part and the very southern part of this planet, with a warm water destination in between, which is the Galapagos, and then we're building out some additional warm water destinations. But anything in between, when you reposition ships, when they go from the Arctic down to the Antarctic and back up again, from a repositioning point of view, there's always opportunities for additional voyages, and that's what we explore as well. We have things such as the Northwest Passage, for example,
Oh yeah.
where you go from Greenland across the Northwest, the Canadian Arctic into Alaska, and then down the Pacific coast. And you can do it the other way around. We typically do it with 2 ships. They meet up in the middle. One goes from east to west, the other one from west to east. Incredible journeys. The Northwest Passage has only been accessible since about 10, 12 years, and less than 1,000 people so far have actually made that journey. So it's something very unique, something very
I think that's what a journey that a lot of people have on their bucket list to do that
yes.
passage. After you've done Antarctica, Arctic, and that one, and maybe Galapagos, and now you can offer all of those things, right?
Yeah, and there is so much more to explore. I mean, if you think about Greenland, how many people know anything about Greenland? And when you start exploring the west coast and the east coast of Greenland, you go all the way up into the Arctic and beyond the Arctic Circle, you will visit some of the most remote human habitations on this planet, where you have Inuit communities who are 7 months a year locked away because of the climate, because of the harsh winters. And when they are accessible, when people like us go up there, and we have been working with these communities for a number of years already. And I mean truly working with them, because we go into these destinations by not by telling them what they need to provide us with in order to entertain our guests, but by sincerely going there and saying, what can we do for you to help you stimulate your own local economy?
Hmm.
And how can we stimulate our guests to contribute to that?
Sure.
So it's not a sing and dance show. It's not something staged. It is all very much getting into a local community and understanding the sensitivity of these areas and the responsibility we have to keep the footprint, the sustainability aspect, the ecological footprint as small as possible.
Well, certainly that sustainability is core to your values as a company. I even when it was all one company, and you've done a lot in that regard, right?
Yes, sustainability is absolutely core. We have been the first company that abolished heavy fuel oils in 2008. We were the first one in the cruise industry that abolished single-use plastics on all of our ships since 2018. We were obviously the first ones to introduce hybrid ships with the Nansen and the Amundsen. We have full recycling capabilities and heat regeneration systems on all of our ships. It's quite amazing when you visit an engine room on one of our ships as to how all of that is being done. There's very, very little real solid waste. It basically collects over a month in a garbage bag, the size of
Mm.
a garbage bag. That's the only solid waste that's being taken off when they get into a port after a month to be disposed of and to be worked on. But the rest is all fully recycled to the extent that all of the gray water and wastewater that's generated on a ship through the cabins and through the galleys and through the use is being regenerated to drink water quality before it's being released into the ocean because we can't reuse it on the ship.
Sure.
But it's drink water quality, and we check on that. So sustainability is important. Also important to the extent that all of our ships have science labs on board. We have scientists on board. We work with over 20 different scientific institutions and universities around the globe. And there's real science being performed. And our customers can participate in it as citizen scientists. And the science that's being performed is very much along the lines of sustainability. So collection of ocean water samples, checking on the density of plankton and phytoplankton, understanding the migration of whales and the changing habitats and changing lifestyles, so to say, or the behaviors of them because of climate change. All of this is being tracked over a number of years with scientists. These are databases that are accessible to our guests when they participate. You can actually track the project that you participate in
Wow.
afterwards around the world, basically, because it's accessible to universities and scientific institutes who make use of that.
Well, certainly you're focused on sustainability, you're focused on science and everything else, but that's not to say that you're not focused on the creature comforts when you're on the ship. Most of your ships, I think the Amundsen is only about 500 passengers. It's probably the biggest one you have. But
Correct.
even and then you go down to Santa Cruz, which is Galapagos. That's only boy 100. I don't know. It's something.
That's 90.
Not
Yeah.
nine. Well, it's close. And so but you go on board, and I know from the Amundsen you have some incredible restaurants. You have really very comfortable, very nice cabins. So you're not skimping on that.
No, and it all has to be coupled with comfort because that's what we sell into. We sell into the upper upscale luxury segment of expedition cruisers. It's for the curious, mindful adventurer, as we call it, people
Mhm.
who have it on their bucket list, people who are getting concerned about the planet, but at the same time who have the means to enjoy this in comfort. Now, comfort for us and luxury for us is what we call experiential luxury or
Mhm.
casual luxury, as I call it. It's
Right.
not. There's no dress code in the evening when you go into the dining room. You don't have to dress up because you may have just come back from an expedition. You may have just come back from a Zodiac on a science project out on the ocean. And when you do come back, you want to go back and enjoy high quality culinary experiences, but in a casual format, meaning I want to walk in there in my jeans and with a comfortable pullover
Sure.
and not having to dress up before I walk in there. So yes, you're right. I mean, it is all coupled with comfort. It's all coupled with a high quality of service. It's all coupled with, of course, the highest standard of safety and security for all of our guests and all of our ships. That's priority number one in every voyage we do. But it is educational. It is one of our goals that every customer that leaves a ship after a voyage has been stimulated to a mindset change to
Right.
the extent that, and I am a firm believer in the fact that we're all human beings and we are emotionally driven, and most of us are visual, meaning you start believing when you actually see something or experience something. If somebody tells you, or if you just hear about it, you hear about it and it passes through and you forget about it.
Mhm.
But if you actually see it and you experience it and you put yourself in the middle of it, it does have an effect on you.
No, it really is amazing, and I have done a few expeditions in my time, and really, it's a life-changing experience to
Yeah.
to see these things, whether it's the Arctic, whether it's Antarctic, or Galapagos. And I've been lucky to do all of those things. Now,
Right.
you've been what is there's obviously in this category expedition cruising, especially luxury expedition cruising. It seems like ever since COVID, we've had an influx of new product and a lot of product. What is
Yeah.
the difference that at HX compared to the other expedition cruise lines? What should travel advisors and their clients expect from HX? And I guess that's the thing, because you have to really differentiate your product a little bit.
Yeah, differentiating the product and also being differentiated in terms of the commitment, the belief, the passion in execution. And what I mean by that is when you look at the pillars of our company, and you mentioned it, sustainability is very big for us, science is very big for us, education is very big for us. Couple that with the comfort, all of these things, each one of them equally we take very serious. It's not lip service. It's not something that we just use for a selling point, but it is actually something that is part of our DNA. I simplify it by saying we walk the talk. I would never promote or talk about something that I am not convinced of being able to deliver. And I think that's partially a little bit of the difference. It's the reality of the fact that what you see is truly what you will get. We don't put up and we don't stage things for our guests on board just because somebody wants to see a polar bear or somebody wants to see a
Right.
different specific type of penguin. We don't put stuffed animals out there on the beach so that you can look at it. And that's part of expedition, as you well know, because you've been on many. Sometimes you're lucky and you see a lot of it, and sometimes
No,
you don't.
I have yet to see a polar bear except the stuffed ones in the airport at Svalbard. And the one time I was close to doing it, apparently I didn't really want to see a polar bear. You know, when they get going, you don't want to be there. So
Well, you don't want to be too close. You don't
that's
want to be.
right. But I have seen all the other whales and seals and of course penguins galore, and it's an amazing experience.
No, it is, and it's. I mean, that's what really brings it home. It's the wildlife, it's the flora and the fauna in those areas because it is very different. You don't see trees up there, and it's that difference between the north and the south. You know, polar bears up north, penguins down south, and it's just a unique part of the world. And depending on what period of the season you go there, it always changes. It's always different. If you go in the early season into Antarctica, you will see the most pristine and the most wide winter wonderland.
Mhm.
That just is mind-boggling and impressive. If you go in January or February, it's not as wide anymore because the penguins, they do their job. They do feed and they leave something behind and it colors the snow and the ice. So
It
it
is
changes.
definitely true, and then the one thing they don't tell you is that penguins have a particular odor about them.
They
Uh,
do. You
the
can smell
problem
it.
is that after 7 days, I didn't smell it anymore, so I wondered if it was part of me at that point. So, but they are very cute, and they tell you to stay away from the penguins, but they don't tell the penguins to stay away from you. That's the issue, and you kind of have to back away
Yeah.
after a while.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the other uniqueness of Antarctica and Galapagos as well is that because of the untouchness of these areas, that human beings haven't been there in masses, these animals have no fear. They don't know borders, they don't know barriers. They don't know us as humans being dangerous. So they do come up close. I went down to Galapagos, I think in the third week or the fourth week I'm on the job because I needed to get to know the different areas.
sure.
And I walk out on a pier waiting for the ship, and there's two seals coming up on the pier. I mean, absolutely fearless, walking towards me. I was probably more scared than they were. I don't think they were scared, and
Yeah.
they just lie down because it's warm there, and you've got to walk around them and make your way. But for them, that's normal.
I had the same experience with the same ship that you were on. The two seals were on that pier, and then I guess it was their mother or father was up above telling them you got to get out of there. The humans are here. So, so but we tried to walk around them, but they were like looking at us. And I had another experience where this seal just kept coming at this poor lady, and they told her, get big," and she kept walking away. And
Yeah.
finally she figured it out. But they're very curious, and so it makes it one of the most. That's really what it's all about. These things, and I'm sure you deliver those experiences time and time again.
That's the key, and that's the intent. I mean, if we succeed, like I said earlier, in stimulating that mindset change, and you have people who walk off the ships and they tell you they've had an absolutely unforgettable, incredible experience, and they look back at the pictures that have been taken, and we, by the way, have photography included as the all-inclusive package.
Okay.
You get photography and video that you can access and download after your trip. These are memories that just they last a lifetime. It's incredible in these areas.
Now, we go out to about 128,000 travel advisors now, and they're very curious about this. They thought they knew Hurtigruten, now they have to know HX. And you've also been ramping up your travel advisor programs. I've seen you have a new
Yes.
website, travelhx.com. And you also, I believe, are doing some other things to make it easier for travel advisors to sell your product. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of them, of course, is the all-inclusive aspect of it, because that we've been listening to our travel advisors, and all-inclusive is easier to sell in that respect than selling every component of it. I think the other thing that is important to know is that we've set up a new agent portal as well. And for any travel advisor to sign up on the agent portal is probably the best way to get in touch with us and into the material that is needed to sell the product.
Sure.
From an getting in touch perspective. Um, we have made it on the basis of the feedback that we received from travel advisors. We have created an adventure is all inclusive approach package for them that makes it really easy to sell as a training material and as a package to promote for them, to talk about what expedition cruise is. So there's a lot of education and learning in there, all packaged in one approach that we take them through webinars, through our BDMs that are out there in the market. They can go onto the travel agent website where they can download a lot of material as well. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible. And then, of course, there's always us as individuals here as well. And I am the first one to say we're small enough to be absolutely accessible. And
Right.
I have put myself out there, and I will continue to put myself out there. If travel advisors, travel agents want to get in touch with me and talk to me directly, by all means, I will be absolutely available.
Well, that's great, and I know you're experienced and a historic company, but you're also a fairly new company
Yes.
with this. So, but you do have some wonderful ships and obviously incredible cruises, and you are positioned in that kind of luxury expedition space that I think is really the sweet spot. Everybody, there's amazing products down there. Now, if you took all of the products down there and I think by now you might get them into one ship like Royal Caribbean, but maybe not. Now you're up to two. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's there's not a lot. It sounds like there's a lot of product in there, and it's really a case of differentiating and understanding the different products and where they go because everybody has a little bit of a different spin, I think.
Everybody has a little bit of a different spin. And like I said, I mean, it needs to come across in its most simple form, although it is a very complex product and not everybody can pull it off. And I think as it is with every business, when there is sort of momentum starting with it, you will see the separation of those who actually can do it and those who will not be able to do it.
Right.
I think we're going to go through the same thing. There will be some sort of consolidation. There will be some who will not survive. Our commitment is on expedition. We're the oldest expedition company. We're
Right.
130 years old. We just have a new name,
Okay.
but we are the oldest expedition company. So,
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to tell our travel advisors out there about HX?
yeah, I mean, for travel advisors, we want to make your life as easy as possible. So we have actually introduced a 25% commission until the end of the year for Galapagos and for Antarctica. We will have very specific programs going into next year and the season thereafter. Just let us know how we can help you, how we can make your life easier, and what you expect from us. The promise that I make is that we will take you as partners absolutely serious. That's one lesson I've learned at Sandals. Sandals is a master in looking after travel advisors and travel organizers. I intend to do the same thing here because it is a business that is people related and is people dependent. It's not a business that can be sold by AI or without humans. Humans
Absolutely.
are very important.
Well, Gebhard, I want to thank you for taking the time to explain what's going on at HX today, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with the company. It's very exciting. I'm sure for you it's your first cruise line, I guess. But you went with the expedition exploration part of it, but you haven't skimped on the luxury part of it. So there you go. So I'm and I wish you all the great luck for this company. And once again, you can find this at travelhx.com, and then they have a travel agent, travel advisor portal, and find out all about that. But again, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you around at the different shows and different events involving travel advisors.
Thank you very much, James, and I'm looking forward to meet you in person as well.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.